Hi, I'm Mel,
And I'm Janelle.
and this is the Murder Mamas.
The Murder Mamas.
Welcome.
Welcome.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
I am going on vacation.
Yes, you are. It's going to be fun for you.
I know. Hopefully.
Yeah. Should be fun. Yeah.
And then we're going to have some episodes, some weeks missing. We're on,
Yes.
We are all on vacation.
We are going on vacation. We got a lot of shit going on.
You were gone the entire month of July.
So I think we're taking, we have one, we're going to take July 4th off, and then we have one for the next week. And then we're not going to be back until August.
Correct.
Yes.
We're going on summer break.
Yes. Because it just has to happen.
I don't think I'm going to see you again until, your birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. You'll be helping me move.
Gladly. And or I'll be getting knee surgery. We'll see what happens. You know.
I'll guarantee you have that knee surgery.
I'm going to get all the workhorse out of you I can before you go under the knife.
Yep.
Anyways, who are we talking about tonight? Are we talking about anything else, or are we jumping right in? All I can think about is this submersible so much. It's been I can't get anything done.
Yeah.
That's all I think about. Me and my coworker are doing nothing but sending memes to each other about it, and articles, and really sad outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at the pool today, and then when we left, I looked at my phone, and they were all dead.
You were at the pool?
What else am I doing?
Why didn't you text me?
You're working.
That's right, I am working.
You have a job.
It's not an air quotes, it's a real job. You gotta text me. Okay, anyways, I can take my lunch break. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's a very sad outcome.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that was really sad. What are we talking about? The
Titan submersible.
Titans, yes.
They found parts of the hull.
Yeah, it's blown up.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Implosion. I mean, honestly, I think that the better outcome obviously would have been finding them alive.
Sure.
Somewhere floating in the ocean, whatever, at the surface. But, at least it was quick.
Yeah.
And,
they didn't know.
Happened before they knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Likely, I don't know a ton about what happens to things that are 13,000 miles under the sea, but...
I don't know, but yeah.
I saw one video that said that it would, the inside of the craft would have heated up a lot, before it happened, and, instantly.
Yeah.
And then just sort of it would crumble.
Yeah.
So.
It's so sad.
It is really sad.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason that I stay on dry land.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. That's why we don't go deep sea diving.
Honestly, it's why I don't even go on boats. I don't really like boats.
Yeah.
One of our friends has a boat. They go on boats all the time. They go fishing. They go on the lake. They have boat days. I'm like,
Auntie wants a boat.
And Chris and I talked about it because Bo likes fishing on boats.
So expensive.
I don't want a boat.
No.
Maybe we could go half season on a boat. Yeah. That sounds like a terrible idea. That's the worst idea. Okay, anyways, let's go.
Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about Donald Henry Gaskins. Do you know him? I had no idea who this guy was.
No.
And I could have gone into a lot more detail with this guy, I feel like, but I just didn't because I'm busy being at the pool.
Without me.
Without you. So, here we go. He was born on March 13th, 1933. I know you told me to do it. When I found it, I'm like, ooh, this guy's really fucked up.
Melissa.
What?
That's my one request coming off a vacation.
Okay. There was one that I was going to do, but it was too involved, and I just couldn't do it. I wasn't into it yet. So I'll do that one.
Okay. The first one that we do in the new podcast room, in the new house, has to be, promise, pinky promise me.
Okay.
You pinky promise?
Pinky promise.
Today.
Okay.
Okay. Someone who is born after 1975.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. All right. Well, this guy was born in 1933 in Florence County, South Carolina, to Ulia Parrott, and he was the last in a string of illegitimate children.
What was that name?
E-U-L-E-A.
Ulia.
Ulia. Yeah.
That's a name.
Yeah. So he was small for his age and immediately gained the nickname Pee-wee. As an adult, he was between 5'4" and 5'5" and weighed approximately 130 pounds. So he was a pretty small dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a terrible name.
Pee-wee, yeah. Well, he's an asshole, so. His mother took little interest in him, and when he was just a year old, he accidentally drank some kerosene, from which he suffered intermittent convulsions for years after. Like,
Accidentally.
well, I'm assuming it was just like she didn't care about any of her children. She was just like, they all were just in the house together. She didn't give a shit. She wasn't watching over them. So I don't know if it was just laying around or what happened, but
I guess more so I'm asking, like, I imagine that kerosene doesn't taste
right. Well, he
super
was
yummy.
1, so 1, 2-ish. So I don't know, like, he just grabbed some and drank some.
Yeah, like before his brain could even register, like,
yeah.
hey, that tastes like a chemical.
I'm sure he
that
just,
out.
because he was so young.
He was such a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So later he would reportedly try to blame all of his crimes on this incident. Gaskins also reportedly never knew his real father and was physically abused by his mother's various lovers. In fact, Gaskins was so neglected as a child that the first time he learned his given name was in court for a string of rapes and assaults he and his friends committed as preteens. Is that not insane?
Wait, what?
He
No.
Yeah.
I
Found out his name in court, like what his truly given name was, like his first, middle, and last name. He always went by Pee-wee because that was the name that everybody got him, and that's just what he thought his name was. Like, so when I say he drank kerosene, like, there was no fucks given in this house. Like,
Wow.
He didn't even know his real name.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was bullied as a child routinely, and he dropped out of school when he was just 11 years old. And his daughter says, my daddy was a bad boy when he was a little. My grandma said he always doing something he wasn't supposed to do. He used to get whippings a lot. So that's what his daughter said about him. Or that's what his grandma would tell his his child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First off, how do you have a child?
Right.
Second thought, why is your abusive mother in your child's life?
Right. So many
Those are my
things.
2 big thoughts on that sentence.
It was the 30s, the 40s. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, that's rough. He started working part-time at a local garage where he met 2 fellow dropouts with whom he formed a gang called the Trouble Trio. They would go on.
No.
Yep.
No.
They would go on to commit
Sounds like a horrible name for like a barbershop quartet that only has 3 people.
Right.
People. 3 people? Like,
yeah.
that's...
The Trouble Trio. Yeah.
I'm cringing.
And they would go on to commit a series of burglaries, assaults, and sometimes even raped little boys.
Expecting that?
Yep.
But that's
Get used to it.
awful.
At 13, Pee-wee Gaskins allegedly graduated from rape to attempted murder.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
He was 11 when he started this gang?
Yeah.
And had a job?
Well, he
You said he was working. Was he like a shop boy?
yeah, like
Okay,
he was
this
working
is
at
the
a
40s. God,
garage
this is
in
the
the 40s. Yeah, like I don't know what he was doing in the garage, just probably cleaning shit. I don't know. Like I'm assuming a mechanic's garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
At 13, Pee-wee Gaskins allegedly graduated from rape to attempted murder. While robbing a home, a young girl walked in and caught him stealing. Gaskins cracked her over the head with an axe and left her to die, but she survived and easily identified Gaskins. He was
Okay, it's this tiny guy
this
everyone
dude.
calls Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. He was consequently found guilty of assault with a deadly weapon and intent to kill and was sent to a reform school on June 18th, 1946, where he was expected to remain until he turned 18. So they put him...
Is that like what they used to call juvie?
I guess maybe that's what it was. A reform
I feel
school.
like that's like a thing you
right.
hear about like a lot.
Back then.
Back then.
Yeah. So that must have been a juvie thing, because...
I don't know know why it always reminds me of Sleepers, I think is the movie. And it's about like 4 kids from New York in like Hell's Kitchen who...
It sounds familiar. I mean, I
I
think...
think Brad Pitt's in it?
Okay, yeah.
Anyways, they commit a crime and like they accidentally... They were like stealing this guy's hot dog cart and they're... Like, it fell down the hot dog cart fell down the subway stairs.
Yeah.
And, like, killed someone at the bottom. So they get sent to, like, this reform school for that crime.
Yeah, that vaguely sounds familiar.
And then they get molested by them. And then they, like, see them way later. And, like, one of them kills the guard. And then he's, like, put on trial. It's actually a really good movie. It's from the 90s. But heavy topic. Anyways, spoilers for a 30-year-old movie.
That's all good. Shortly after he was incarcerated, he was gang raped by 20 boys and agreed to sexually service the dorm's boss boy in exchange for protection. Gaskins repeatedly tried to escape the reform school. Of all his attempts, he was only successful one time. So he's not doing great. During this escape, he married a 13-year-old girl and then turned himself into the authorities to finish his sentence.
Absolutely not.
He was freed on his 18th birthday.
This is the story. I'm sorry. Sorry, I got my nails done because I'm going on vacation now. I can't stop tapping.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I don't know. It's the 40s. I don't know. I wasn't alive back then. It was another 40 years before I was born.
Rub it in, bitch. No, that you picked another case of people from like eons ago.
Eons. It's not that long ago.
It feels like
okay.
It.
After
all right, so he's marrying 13-year-olds while
he
he's
was
in
13
juvie.
too. So what? I mean, like it's 13 on 13. I don't know.
Why? Why are 13-year-olds?
I don't know.
Getting married.
The 40s, man. After he was released from reform school, he began working on a tobacco farm. There, he got involved in insurance fraud. He worked with a partner by collaborating with local tobacco farmers to burn their barns for a fee. Around the area, people began to wonder about Gaskins' involvement with the barn fires. When his employer's daughter questioned him about the barn fires, he panicked and split the girl's skull with the hammer that he had in his hand. He received a 5-year sentence in prison for assault with a deadly weapon and attempted murder. 5.
Okay.
While in prison, Gaskins committed his first murder, an attempt to become a power man. Power men are the most brutal and feared inmates. Gaskins decided killing a fellow inmate would be enough to keep the other inmates from bothering him. I mean, it's not.
Come out swinging.
Yeah. He was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 6 months of solitary confinement, but he accomplished his goal of becoming a power man. The newly found status made his life in prison more enjoyable.
Okay. I can't get the image out of my brain of like someone wearing like high-waisted like jail pants.
Right.
Very much like Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
With like one of the little hats that's like a newsy hat and just like, hey, I'm the boss. But he's like this 18-year-old who's 5 feet tall. And you're just being like, oh, okay,
whatever. Yep.
Like the visual image I'm getting is
it's weird. In 1955, his wife filed for divorce. Gaskins flipped out and escaped from prison. Shortly thereafter, he remarried, but the second marriage only lasted 2 weeks. Then he became involved with Betty Gates. The two went to Tennessee to bail out Gates's brother, but when Gaskins arrived back at the hotel, he was in for a surprise. He found out Gates's brother was actually her husband, and he had recently escaped. So, like, he hooked up with this girl, and he was planning on breaking her brother out of jail, but it was really her husband. So when they like get back to the hotel,
I can't handle what's happening.
The police arrived at the hotel, and it didn't take them long to realize that he was an escaped convict, and he was sent back to prison with an extra 9 months for aiding an escape of a prisoner. So he got sent back to jail because he tried to get out this woman's husband who thought it was her brother, and he was trying to help her out.
What?
Yeah.
What? What is happening?
It's a really funny story. I could have gone into so much more depth, but we just kind of like skimmed it.
Are we in North Carolina, you said?
Yeah.
South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina. Yeah.
Wow. This seems like the Wild Wild West.
It is.
Man.
In August 1961, he was released from prison and returned to South Carolina. He was unable to stay out of trouble and began burglarizing homes again. He avoided arrest by working with a traveling minister as his driver and his general assistant. This was an easy way Gaskins could travel from town to town while burglarizing homes, and would make his crimes harder to trace because they would just move from town to town, and he was with a pastor. In 1962, Gaskins was arrested for the statutory rape of a 12-year-old girl, but he escaped to North Carolina in a stolen car. Once in North Carolina, he met a 17-year-old girl with whom he married. She eventually turned him into the police for statutory rape, and he received 6 years in Columbia Penitentiary. In November 1968, he was paroled and made a vow to never return again.
Okay. I feel like laws were written because this man existed on
Right.
Earth.
Like, there wasn't... Yeah, like, he couldn't get away with this shit right now. There's no way.
No.
Like, he already murdered someone, for one thing. He wouldn't get 5 years for that. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes if you murder someone who's, like, already in jail, they're like...
Yeah,
well,
that's true.
Yeah. Costing the taxpayers money anymore. Yeah.
It kind of depends on who you kill. If it's just, like, someone in for, like, stealing a car, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
If you kill someone for, like, murdering a bunch of kids, then, like, yeah.
I mean, if you kill someone at all, it's not great.
It's not great.
There's a justice system for a reason.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Throughout Gaskins' life, he described feelings that forced him into criminal activity, which he referred to as them aggravated and bothersome feelings. In September 1969, he found relief from these feelings. Gaskins picked up a female hitchhiker in North Carolina and became angry when she laughed at his sexual propositions. So, like, he couldn't get it up. Mm-hmm. He beat her until she was unconscious. Gaskins raped, sodomized, and tortured her. Then he went to a swamp to sink her weighted body so she would drown.
Ugh.
Yeah, he's kind of, yeah.
Are there... I guess there are swamps in Carolina.
Yeah, oh yeah. His, quote, process of rape, torture, and murder was described by Gaskins as a vision into the bothersome feelings he experienced throughout his life.
I honestly, I can't
Shut
take
up.
any of this seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're just a real bad person who wants to do bad things.
Right.
And that's it. Like, I don't want to hear any of anything about your bothersome feelings. Like,
yep. He mastered the skill of torture, often keeping his injured victims alive for days.
Ugh.
Sometimes he would cannibalize their severed body parts and either make them watch him eat them in horror or join in the eating. Make them join in the eating.
Is it fucking Hannibal Lecter?
Yeah, I know. I don't know how we haven't heard about this guy. Like, he's totally...
What the fuck?
Yeah. Gaskins' preference on victim sex was slanted towards female victims. However, between 1969 and 1975, investigators discovered the remains of both murdered boys and girls along the Carolina highways. No gender was immune. He was considered these highway murders as weekend recreation. Killing his acquaintances were more serious murders.
I mean, some people, like, go on hikes.
Yeah.
Or, head to a coffee shop.
Go to Costco.
Maybe go camping.
One murder where he was close to the victim included his 15-year-old niece and her friend. He lured the two girls to an abandoned house where he attempted to rape them, and upon failing to do so, he beat them to death. In his autobiography, Gaskins would claim upwards of 100 murders along the coastline, but that cannot be confirmed.
Jesus. I wonder, like, because he was so small stature, like, probably didn't seem super threatening.
No.
Which is, like, a huge advantage for him, you know?
Could get close enough to the victims without them having any fear in their, like... You don't put up walls right away, like, when someone that walks by.
Yeah, like, that they don't have an intimidating stature. Right. You know, like... I would be like...
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Neat.
Yeah, neat. Although Gaskins had a reputation for being explosive, some people in the town just thought he was mentally disturbed. Most tried to avoid even being around him, but some people actually liked him and considered them as their friend. One of the people who considered Gaskins to be a friend was Doreen Dempsey, a mother of a 2-year-old baby girl, and she was also pregnant with her second child at the time of her death. She was leaving town and decided to get a ride to the bus station from her old friend. Gaskins took her to a wooded area where he raped and killed her, and then raped, sodomized, and killed her baby.
What?
He buried the two together.
No. Why? I know you don't know.
He's fucked up in the head. I don't know. Fuck. This guy's really bad. Yeah, a baby, a 2-year-old. In June 1974, Gaskins shot his friend and criminal associate Johnny Sellers, age 36, in the back of the head and stabbed to death Johnny's ex-girlfriend Jessie Ruth Judy, aged 22, after Sellers asked for money he was owed from the sale of a stolen boat. Gaskins feared Sellers would reveal Gaskins was also involved in an auto theft ring. Jessie Judy was murdered at the same time because she could have told police about Gaskins' criminal activities, including murdering her boyfriend, Johnny Sellers.
I have to see what this guy looks like.
Gaskins was 42 years old in 1975 and had been killing steadily for the past 6 years. Up until then, he had worked alone, and that had helped him avoid being caught. However, after he murdered 3 people when their van broke down on the highway, he needed some help. He called up an ex-con, Walter Neely, to drive to the victim's van to his garage so he could repaint it and sell it. Gaskins was also hired as a hitman. That same year, Suzanne Kipper paid him $1,500 to kill her ex-boyfriend, Silas Yates. John Powell and John Owens handled the communication between Gaskins and Kipper concerning the arrangement of the murder. On February 12, 1975, Diane Neely lured him out of the house by claiming to have car trouble. Gaskins then kidnapped and murdered Yates while Powell and Owens watched. All 3 helped bury him.
Wow.
So he just like he doesn't have like a type. He was hired as a hitman. He just murdered teens. He murdered a woman. Like, it just doesn't fucking matter. He's just a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, it's because he's having those...
Oh, yeah, from the kerosene.
Those feelings.
Those feelings, yeah. Diane Neely and her boyfriend decided to blackmail Gaskins. They asked for $5,000 in hush money. Gaskins quickly got rid of them after he arranged a meeting for the payoff. Around the same time, Gaskins had tortured and killed other people he knew.
Did he kill them?
Yeah. Kim...
Let me say got rid of them.
Well,
It really could have meant anything with this guy. Like, it could have meant he murdered them, he paid them, he fed them to sharks, he put them in a swamp, he buried them on the side of the road. Like,
who knows? So Kim Gehings, a 13-year-old who rejected him, he tortured and killed her. So, like, he went back to her because, like, years before she had rejected him. 2 locals robbed...
It sounded like she was 13.
She was 13. Yes, she was 13 at the time. I'm sorry. And he was... How old is he now? Older. Yes.
This is 70-something?
Yeah. Yes, you're
So
right.
he's 40?
40, something like that.
Smart
Yeah.
girl.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
2 locals robbed Gaskins' repair shop without knowing about his bad side. He eventually killed and buried these 2 bodies with the other locals in his private cemetery. Once again,
private cemetery.
he called on Walter Neely to help him bury the 2 bodies. While there, Gaskins even showed Neely where he had buried the other locals. After the disappearance of Kim, the authorities began to become suspicious of Gaskins. After searching his apartment, they found clothing that had been worn by Kim. Gaskins was indicted for contributing to the delinquency of a miter. Neely cracked under pressure while waiting for the trial and showed the police Gaskins' private cemetery. In the cemetery, they found the bodies of the following: Sellers, Judy, Howard, Diane Neely, John Knight, Dennis Bellamy, Doreen Dempsey, and her child. On April 27, 1976, Gaskins and Walter Neely were charged with 8 counts of murder. On May 24, 1976, a jury convicted Gaskins of the murder of Dennis Bellamy, and he was sentenced to death. In an attempt to avoid additional death sentences, he later confessed to 7 more murders. But again, he thinks that he's confessed hundreds. Or that's what they think. In November 1976, the Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional, so his death sentence was converted to life with 7 consecutive life sentences. In 1978, the death penalty was restored. On September 2nd, 1982, Gaskins committed another murder for which he earned the title of the meanest man in America. While incarcerated...
What a great
right?
competition.
Yay.
Why the fuck are we giving awards?
Right? Names
that?
for,
I mean, I know it's not an actual award.
No,
but
don't.
Why?
Yeah.
He's already in jail. There's nothing to gain for that.
Right.
Don't
do that.
Don't?
Yeah.
I could be America's Most Wanted.
Right.
I get that
Sure.
because you want to get people to know about it, but
you don't
why would you give this motherfucker
sensationalize his
anything?
name? Yeah.
It seems really...
While incarcerated in the high-security block at the South Carolina Correctional Institution, Gaskins killed a death row inmate named Rudolph Tyner, who had received his sentence for killing an elderly couple during an armed robbery of their store in South Carolina. Gaskins was hired to commit this murder by Tony Simo, the son of Tyner's victims. Simo was initially charged with murder but pled guilty to lesser charges and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. He was paroled in 1986. Gaskins initially made several unsuccessful attempts to kill Tyner by lacing his food and drink with poison before he opted to use explosives to kill him. He's in jail.
How was he getting explosives?
I think I read somewhere that he someone had walked in with C4 in their shoe. They cut out a hole in their shoe and walked in to the jail. This is bad.
I honestly feel like this is the case that breaks me. I don't think I can
Yep.
People have too much time. Imagine if they focused their energy, effort, resources on just not being a piece of shit.
Right.
I'm literally at a loss for words.
Yes. So, So he opted to use explosives to try and kill him. To accomplish this, Gaskins rigged a device similar to a portable radio in Tyner's cell and told Tyner this would allow them to, quote, communicate between cells. When Tyner followed Gaskins' instructions to hold a speaker with the C4 explosive, unbeknownst to him, attached to his ear, at an agreed time, Gaskins detonated the explosives from his cell and killed Tyner.
I can't. No. I quit. I'm gone. I'm out of here. This man bringing jailhouse bombs. What?
Yeah. Okay.
What?
So Gaskins was tried for Tyner's murder and sentenced to death. It was the first time in history of South Carolina that a white man was sentenced to death for the murder of a black man. Over the last months of his life...
Sounds really problematic.
I know, right? Gaskins worked with an author, Wilton Earl, on his book, Final Truth. The book was published in 1993 and discussed the murders and the bothersome feelings Gaskins felt throughout his life. On the day of his execution, he cut his wrists in a last attempt to avoid the electric chair. However, that didn't work. Gaskins was placed in the electric chair with his stitched arms and pronounced dead by electrocution on September 6, 1991. His last words were, quote, "I'll let my lawyers talk for me. I'm ready to go."
I hate his last words.
Yeah. So we could have gone way more in depth with that guy, but I just didn't do it.
I appreciate that because this is...
It was pretty bad just to begin with. Like, the surface was just...
It's just infuriating. Like, how is this man making a bomb in prison?
Right?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't know how to do that. And then, like, he made it, and then he, like, shoved it into the cell next to him.
Like,
so that the guy could talk to him. Like, I don't
know, like, this is the particular detail of this entire story that really makes me feel the rage I'm feeling inside. But, like...
Because even when he's caught, he's still doing shit. Like, they haven't...
like, I think that's it. Like, catching him meant nothing.
Nothing. He just killed more people in jail.
Like, this man... Who's bringing him the bomb?
Right.
Materials.
Right.
He's obviously problematic. Put him in solitary.
Yeah.
Take away visitation. Like,
right.
What?
He started this shit at 11. Like, he's not going to get reformed.
He had killed someone before he killed this other guy. Too.
Right.
Like, I don't... I can't. I don't...
Yep. And I can't believe I have never heard of this guy. Like, he's done a lot of shit.
Because he's from...
Okay. But, like, he didn't... 100 years ago. Was it? No.
Almost.
Yeah,
90.
I guess.
He was born 90 years ago.
Yeah, I guess so. But, I mean...
So is he dead?
He didn't die until 1991. I mean, that wasn't...
30 years ago.
Okay, well, that seems like it's not that long ago. I don't know.
I appreciate that because that's how I feel every day. I'm like, 30 years ago, the 70s?
Yeah. Nope. Not anymore.
And then I make a big-eyed face like,
oh fuck.
No.
Yep.
Oh, no. Okay, I hated this guy.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Not even he's bad, just like, I hated him.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking me on that journey of the thing I hated.
You're welcome. Anytime.
At least once a week. Every other week.
Yay.
On Thursdays.
Alright, so we will see you guys... Nope, we won't see any of you because this is not a visual platform, but we will not hear from you either. You will hear from us.
We'll be back
in August.
Adios.
Bye. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at
The Murder Mamas,
Facebook,
The M Mamas,
Twitter,
The Murder Mamas,
email,
themurdermamas@gmail.com.
And if you like us and are happy with our content, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We would appreciate it. Bye.